are live on both Facebook and Instagram.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, dear friends and family, community, Just Be community. We're back live this morning to host our beautiful guest speaker talking about a very dear topic, dear to my heart. It happened that I know that you know of Nellie Parsons as a practitioner, facilitator in the healing field with her beautiful gifts. But guess what? Her gifts are even wider than that. And the idea came, I was actually waiting for her to come and facilitate. And she came to me surprising me that she was finally ready to offer her other gifts at Just Be. So we came up, yes, we are not Sunday, and usually the lives that I do are usually Sundays, but this is an exception because I really wanted to take a moment to announce and to make this announcement of what's coming up at Just Be. Learning music in different ways for children. And so basically classes are coming up offered by Nellie Parsons to gift her knowledge, her expertise in the music field. So Nellie, can you tell us what's your background in the music field?
Well, before I started doing what you know me how to do, meditations and Reiki healing and all of the rest, prior to that, I did a lot of music. I started learning at the young age of 7, and I went academically through learning very, very intensely the piano. I went into music college. I earned my bachelor's degree as a pianist and a piano teacher, and then I moved on to study my master's degree in opera singing, and I graduated as an opera singer. I enjoyed quite long years of career in performing, but once I came to Dubai, I did find the need of a little bit of more serious music education. Rather than recreational activity, just learning piano in music institutes. And in 2003, I established a music school in Knowledge Village, which was called Orpheus. And it was purely dedicated for serious music education for all children who would like to continue and study professionally in universities and conservatories, where the selection process is very, very strict. It's through audition only, and they have to perform at a certain level, a very, very high standard. The school is still operational, and there are lots of children that studied there. I'm the proud teacher of lots of students who moved on and got their own degrees in music, including PhD in music. And one of them at the moment is actually a composer in Hollywood.
Wow.
So, yes, I don't know what I'm more proud of, my performing experience or my teaching. If I have to weigh them, I think my biggest pride are my students and what they have achieved in learning music. So this is really very rewarding to see them.
It is indeed.
Doing the best with what they have learned with me, and take it to another level and make a life for themselves with music, in the field of music.
I got inspired, Nellie, by your background because I'm a mother of 2. I have 2 little ones that are under 10, so one is 6 and the other one just turned 9. And my wish as a mother is to unleash the potential of my children, or help them unleash their potential, and finding those gifts that are hidden, as I'm now dedicated my life into finding and unleashing my own potential and gifts. So what my inspiration towards you was to know that you do have both aspects of both profile as a professional expert in the music field, as well as being that gifted healer, if I may say, that would know how to basically unleash those gifts, hidden gifts. So that was my inspiration, and I said that as a mother I can testify, and I'm sure I'm talking on behalf of many mothers that may hear us out today, that we would like to basically reach out to our children and help them unleash that, but we don't always know how, and we may maybe pick or choose or instruments that may not be really what they need the most, what they like the most, and maybe just miss out on actually finding out what they are good at. So how are these classes different than anything that is happening out there?
Yeah, well, I understand your confusion indeed, because it's very beautiful to see somebody performing music, but unless one has gone through the experience themselves, they wouldn't know what it takes to do what a musician is doing there on stage. And very often it's being assumed that it's actually easy, but it's not easy at all. I would like to start with saying that music is a language, and very, very rich and complex language. Of course, it's a language which we use when the means of our languages we speak are not enough to express our emotions and our feelings. And this is where music starts. So when the words stop, the music starts. But being such complex and difficult language, and not understanding that or have a conscious awareness of the complexity of that language, we somehow expect the children to just pick it up, which they do. And children that are inclined towards music do. However, there is a difference between speaking a language and being educated in a language. And this is where we need that education in order to make the child being able to play an instrument, because this is another skill. So now we have the language called music, and we need the technical skill of playing an instrument. So if the child doesn't understand the language or picks it up simply by mimicking, and we expect that child to just figure out the complexity of doing an instrument, it's quite tough. Quite difficult, honestly, and I'm not surprised when children try it and after a couple of years they give up, they stop, because it's enormous. And very often I'm being asked to start piano lessons with 4 or 5 years old children, and to be honest, I completely refuse to do that, because first of all, the child is very young, is not developed yet, to be able to manage with their hands and their overall development to play such an instrument and understand what is going on. I'm not talking about the exceptions, I'm talking about normal average children. Now I'd like to go back and mention that when I started playing music, I wasn't put in front of the piano immediately. No, not at all. In my country and many other countries, of course, there is a very good system where children are first introduced to music into group lessons, where they learn the elements of music. As I said, music is a very complex language, to learn those elements step by step. And once that language and the knowledge of it from educational point of view is acquired after a year, then the children are moved on to play the instrument as well, while they increase their music knowledge at the same time. Because of the unique situation in this country here, we don't really have that tradition. To be honest, there isn't a tradition in that. So the teacher decides by themselves if they want to do such thing or not. But again, because everyone is in a hurry to see their child play an instrument, they don't realize, is my child old enough? Is my child knowledgeable about music enough? Can they handle the instrument? And it's so much going on. So yes, it's a complex thing altogether. So this is where the idea came. I have done it in the past, and I'm doing it again, where I'm going to introduce children to music in this group of 10 lessons, where they don't have to do anything related to music. I'm going to train their minds to comprehend the elements of music without having to deal with keys or strings or blow into a pipe, whatever that instrument is. So they will understand those elements step by step, and gradually be introduced to the concept of music in general, because this is the language they learn. And then these 10 classes will give them enough knowledge to sit in front of an instrument and then apply that into making sound onto that instrument, or simply sing, but with understanding.
So what would be the list of benefits that the children will gain?
Oh, plenty. And to be honest, it's not just about playing an instrument, not at all. The biggest benefit, I would say, is that the children connect all their ways of learning. As you know, we have visual learning, we have audio, aesthetic, and we have digital. So ears, eyes, minds, and hands work together. And I don't know any other activity which exposes all these levels of perception to work together. And as I said, because music is a language, so imagine if a language has around 25 to 30 letters, music has 88. So this is 3 times more than a normal language. The frequencies, the length, the complexity of it. No language has that, but the music does. So your child's perception of sound expands, and their development, mind development there, goes alongside with it. So if you think about your children's minds or brains as a computer, you have hardware and software. For the hardware, you need to have good nutrition. You need to have the fish oil or whatever else that is there that would make their brain, the hardware, work well. But what is the software? Well, the best software you can use for your children to really grow into their potential mentally is music. And I have seen, even now, I have at the moment students who 2-3 years ago were having problems with math. At the moment they excel in their math class. And they said, oh, miss, you know, that is just a miracle. I do so well in math. And I said, well, it's not a miracle and I'm not surprised. This is because of music lessons. Because the 2 hemispheres of the brain become faster, connected faster. The amount of neurons that are developed as a result are just as many as you could possibly think, and no other activity is going to do that. There are other benefits, as I said, the obvious ones I don't have to tell you. Obviously the children learn how to play an instrument, they learn music, but they learn discipline, they learn self-criticism, they learn responsibility. Many other skills that are far more surpassing just the ability to play an instrument. A lot.
It sounds very exciting. I'll definitely have my girl, my 9-year-old, joining.
Thank you. I hope she'll enjoy it.
And one more question related to your other background as a meditation practitioner and a healer. How meditation can help in learning music?
Well, I will start with the sentence you mentioned earlier that I have many gifts, but the truth is that music is meditation. And children have a hard time to focus and concentrate on practice or doing what they have to do for that very reason, because they have to learn to focus. And I always thought for quite some time that my music occupation and career is something separate than what I'm doing right here, right now, in terms of meditations and Reiki healing and quantum healing. But recently I actually discovered that I honed my skills as a practitioner in those very music lessons, because I had to gauge the interest of a child. I had to make the mind less busy to focus on one particular thing. So all of the things I will do in this class, I actually already have tried and tested for over 20 years, but I never put them out openly like, okay, now we're going to make a music class which is going to incorporate very openly meditation as well. But it has been done many, many times by me, and I'm sure by many other music teachers, except they're not calling that, you know, meditation or any such thing. But again, because music is a very complex language, and if we are to teach our children a language, any language, we're not going to expect them to start talking straight away. We're going to break it down to them in small words and simple words, step by step, and we'll be happy if they just say a letter or two or a word or two. But when it comes to music, we expect them to start talking. Well, that's very unrealistic expectation. So in these classes, I'm going to introduce the children into those elements of music step by step, from the simple sounds, and then build it up from there. What I do is actually nothing new. It's just the format in which is going to be introduced will be slightly different and probably more interesting. But in another setup, you'll call these lessons are solfege or solfeggio or sight reading or introductory classes. Whichever way you want to call that, it's exactly that, learning children music, giving them the first steps into it, minus the stress and the high expectation. Because even children themselves, I have noticed that the new generations have very high expectations from themselves, because they always compare their performance to ready-made products, because we have these devices in our hands and we see performances by accomplished performers, and they think we expect them to sound like this and produce the same thing. So parents' expectations are very high, children's expectations are very high without realizing what they're dealing with.
True.
So we have to show them, look, it is not as simple, we have to do it step by step, and we have to go through it, and eventually 4 or 5 years down the line you will be able to do the same, but not before that, not at all. So this is in a nutshell. I would like to be able to answer the questions of our audience, and anything you wish to ask, I'm sure they can reach the center and ask prior to that
Absolutely.
lesson on
Don't
Monday.
hesitate to engage if you have more questions. We'll always, follow up, and if we could attend any of your questions, you could also call us, leave a message in a comment box, or if you want to know more about the classes, they're starting up next Monday.
Next Monday, correct.
21st. It's an afternoon class from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. and it's 10 classes. So we are happy that we stole a moment to make this special announcement to what's coming up at Just Be. And stay tuned always. Happy to connect. All the best.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.